Ladies and gentlemen, listen to this important clip by the CEO of Palantir, Alex Karp.
Well, it was crazy motivational for us internally, and the company was built for anti-terror and military, but you know, Palantir saved hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of lives in this country, and arguably in England and other countries. The disaster that we were facing because of disparate data sets that you would never be able to unify in a short period of time unless you had spent literally 5-7 years building a product that was the complete stack that you could install with the help of the Army Corps of Engineers that were fantastic, was just one of the most crazy motivating things that I think all of us, and I had the privilege to be involved in, and it's really even motivating.
I really think it's an interesting clip how Alex talks about Palantir really starting, and its sole purpose originally was to be a defense and anti-terrorism type company. What you can really see is their expansion now into the commercial sector and what they've really done to expand also on top of the governmental side of things. What you see here right now, we get news that Palantir here is set to compete for a 22 billion with the B, Army IVAS headset production contract. We'll keep you guys up to date on what's going to be happening with this, but the fact that they're even competing for such a large contract in terms of its valuation has a lot of people starting to get on their tippy toes. And what you see with Palantir in terms of this reversal, we're seeing a lot of optimism that's coming back into the market. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, that like button. Of course, not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Palantir has a great reversal right here that we've seen hit at this bottom at the 65, returning into the markets 76.87. We see the Operation Stargate project that is really brought a lot of enthusiasm back into the AI markets, specifically the broader market that NASDAQ does incredibly well today with the run up of NVIDIA and Oracle. We'll be getting into the details about that here in just a few moments later in the video. But looking at Palantir right now, optimism could be pushing Palantir back to this $80 level of resistance. The reason I say that is because right now, with the current administration, Palantir has some great ties to the government already. We also know the vice president and the co-founder of Palantir do have some collaborative relationships. So right here, the significant factor of this $500 billion joint venture of the Stargate plan involving Oracle, OpenAI, and SoftBank, I think is only bullish for Palantir's trajectory down the line, and especially for the year of 2025. Palantir, I agree with this article, is identified really as a beneficiary due to the increased federal spending on defense and national security under the current administration. We do know, and we've seen, that Trump has said that he wants the U.S. to be basically one of the most powerful militaries that there is, going to be putting a lot of money into that statement and trying to make things happen. We see a lot of things happening right now in the first few days of the change in this administration, and the fact that the company does have, like I mentioned before, those strong ties to the governmental agencies, and in the fact that they're bringing AI solutions to that, a new innovative technology that kind of lacks in the government, that is incredibly bullish for Palantir to basically capture some of that market share that's coming in. And Palantir is really seeing a lot of strong market demand. On top of that, with Oracle right here, shares nearly up 9% after the announcement of this $500 billion artificial intelligence investment in infrastructure plan. Now, Stargate, in terms of the valuation, we see $500 billion. It says to deploy $100 billion immediately, with the remaining funds allocated over 4 years to maintain the competitive edge in the AI global race. The U.S. really wants to be on top in terms of the AI arms race, the AI global race, and their initiatives across the board. So the fact that Palantir here, I think, is only going to be a major benefactor. One of the big things for Palantir here also is that earnings is coming up here in just a few short weeks. February 3rd, post-market, earnings per shares are estimated to be at about 11 cents, with earnings per share revenues in revisions, 13 bullish ones, revisions, with a revenue estimated to be about $776 million. So what we do have here is a lot of anticipation. I'm going to expect that people are going to start trading around earnings season, getting hyped up for that, I could see Palantir getting back up here into the 80s with the amount of bullishness that we've had return to the market in the recent just few days. On top of that, we're also seeing some other AI stocks that are starting to pop. We talked about this one yesterday. Tempus AI shares setting to rally as we saw Pelosi coming out with a transaction report purchasing this smaller cap stock. Now, typically Pelosi has been more safer in her investments regarding market capitalization, buying some of the big Magnificent Seven companies we've seen with Amazon, Google, especially with Nvidia, which has gained a lot of traction to the trades and the information that she could possibly know. They talk about here that Pelosi getting in on this Tempus AI stock, shares have jumped over 18% and currently are trading at about $50. If you guys have been missing the news at all, Pelosi disclosed the filing that she had purchased 50 call options at a strike price deep in the money at $20 with an expiration of January 16th of next year. When we talked about Tempus yesterday, it was trading at about $55 in the overnight hours. I mean, Tempus absolutely launched up. A little bit of a pullback here today, but saw some support up at about the 48s, and it's now sitting right at $50. We'll see what happens with Tempus, because on top of that, also conveniently, in the same amount of time, they also launched their AI-enabled personal health concierge app, Olivia, on Tuesday. Now, this app is allowing patients to help track their health-related data in one central location and leverages advanced AI to provide actionable insights, trying to work on improving patient outcomes, harnessing the power of data and AI. So Tempus AI is really working to bring AI solutions into the healthcare sector. And now that you have a lot of bullishness behind it, we're seeing FOMO that's starting to pile into Tempus. I think we could continue to see the market capitalization of Tempus rise right now at about 8 billion. Compare that to other AI stocks such as Palantir that we've been talking about at 175 billion right now as we speak. On top of that, nonetheless, many of the markets and stocks within the markets are doing very well looking at some of the broader indexes. The S&P touches a fresh record here, and any type of correction that we saw last December has now been completely corrected. We are above that level, and the S&P here advanced about 0.61% after hitting this intraday record of 6,100, exceeding the last milestone that touched in December before that we saw the pullback. Now, stocks are really surging in terms of Stargate. We saw Oracle in that announcement. Shares jump more than 6% and Nvidia climb more than 4% as they are filing into the AI trade following this announcement here from the White House talking about the initial set of funding that people and what the administration says that they're going to bring into the markets. We're seeing a combination of a very resilient economy, easing inflation that they're saying, but I would say inflation is still staying somewhat sticky. Otherwise, the Fed wouldn't be as hesitant or increasing their hesitancy to reduce the federal funds rate in terms of the interest rates. Remember, that were expected to be about 4, came down to about 2, but now the market doesn't really seem to care. We were seeing a pullback and a comeback across the board, moving to these all-time highs. This completes a total comeback for investors from late 2024. Last year, the S&P 500 climbed up 23%. That benchmark shred 2.5% in December, and currently the market is already up 3.5% year to date. So looking across the board, I'm still going to guess for the first half of this year, with a lot of other analysts that have been talking about that. Tom Lee has been talking about that. I'm continuing to see bullishness across the market, especially with these AI stocks that are continuing to grow very, very fast. We'll be keeping you guys up to date on especially what's happening with the stocks that we've been talking about, looking at small cap stocks. These have also had a boost in the last few days, and looking at some of the other fintech stocks like SoFi. A lot of people are starting to get their eyeballs on this stock and thinking that with the resiliency that we're seeing in the economy, some of the bullishness for the actual banking system, a lot of people are anticipating bank stocks across the board will have bullishness and an actual increase in market capitalization and value for 2025. SoFi could be positively affected by this. What are your opinions on everything that we talked about in this video? Where do you see Palantir? Do you think it'll be popping back up to the 80s? Talking about Tempus, the other AI stocks, Stargate. Do you think this is great for 2025? Or do you think we're getting a little too far ahead of ourselves? Peace out, take care, and I'll catch you guys later.